Many sales strategies focus on building relationships with prospects as an integral part of the sales process. However, the authors of The Challenger Sale, Matthew Dixon and Brent Adamson, believe differently. They say that when it comes to top-performing sales reps, building relationships is the least effective strategy in closing sales. Instead, those who take control and teach their prospects how to solve their problem are more successful than those who spend long amounts of time building a relationship with their lead. Research from Gartner also highlights a growing trend, that by the time a customer contacts a sales rep, they're over half of the way through the purchase process. In their book, Dixon and Adamson say, challengers aren't so much world-class investigators as they are world-class teachers. They win not by understanding their customer's world as well as the customers know it themselves, but by actually knowing their customer's world better than their customers know it themselves, teaching them what they don't know but should. Let's look deeper into the challenger sales model. Dixon and Adamson separate sales reps into 5 distinct profiles. The hard worker, who goes the extra mile, doesn't give up easily, is self-motivated, and likes feedback and development. The relationship builder, who builds strong customer advocates, is generous with their time and gets along with everyone. The lone wolf, who follows their own instincts, is self-assured and independent. The problem solver, who's reliable, ensures all problems are solved, and is detail-oriented. The challenger, who has a different view of the world, understands the customer's business, loves to debate, pushes the customer to get out of their comfort zone. The challenger builds up to a sale by creating constructive tension in the form of casual debate, intentionally disputing their customer's way of thinking and forcing them to contemplate a new perspective. By encouraging their customers to consider new opportunities, the challenger can begin to offer an alternative way forward. This method of selling relies on delivering insight about an unknown problem or opportunity in the customer's business that you're uniquely positioned to solve. This type of selling could mean breaking down everything you thought you knew about selling. If done right, the selling style mirrors a ride on a roller coaster, tapping into a prospect's fears by showing them what will happen if they don't act, and eventually raises their hopes by positioning your product as the solution to these alarming scenarios, ending on a high, with the prospect eager to purchase your product. Here are 5 steps you could take to adopt the challenger sales methodology. Step 1, the warm-up. The first step is to build credibility with prospects. Thoroughly research and investigate the prospect's pain points, challenges, and needs so you can show your prospects that you understand the challenges they're facing. While other selling techniques require talking about what your product does, the challenger sales method demands talking about the prospect's needs instead. Your product is never mentioned, but rather the discussion should focus on the prospect's problem at this stage. You should show prospects why you're contacting them. Talk about typical issues that your prospect might be dealing with to show that you can empathize. Prove your expertise by demonstrating that you have the necessary experience to understand your prospects' problems and what they're dealing with. Get prospects feeling curious about introducing any facts or research about the problem that might pique interest. You could also get interactive by using visuals and interactive content to get the prospect involved in the discussion and uncover crucial pain points they are facing. Aim to have nothing more than a thought-provoking conversation at this point. The groundwork put into these early conversations help to lay the foundation for selling further down the track. The second step is to reframe the conversation. This step focuses on finding the root of the prospect's problems and reframing them as growth opportunities, breaking down any misconceptions about how they will solve their problems and slowly beginning to shift their mindset away from what they perceive to be the answer. After challenging the prospect to accept that the problem-solving solution they had in mind won't work, even if only hypothetically, begin to reframe the conversation around better solutions. Do this by staying on topic. Address the concerns the prospect talked about in step 1 and reiterate your understanding, knowledge, and expertise. You could also surprise the prospect about their misconceptions. Challenge them to shift their focus to new and more effective methods. Even addressing the problem with confidence can be effective. By turning the conversation around, it requires a certain level of fearlessness and assurance. So the more confident and relatable you can be, the more the prospect will trust you to present alternative solutions. The goal of this step isn't to sell, but to try and evoke a sense of curiosity in the prospect, getting them to think in new ways. The third step of the process is to use emotions. Most of our decision-making is subconscious and usually driven by our emotional reaction. So no matter how good your product is, emotions will still play a key role in B2B sales. A great way to get prospects to see value is by presenting them with relatable customer success stories, where they picture how they could benefit too. It's harder for them to go back to their old ways of thinking once they realize there's an alternate solution. Take this step further by showing prospects what will happen if they don't change their outlook. You could tell a story that paints a picture of what will happen if the prospect continues down their familiar path, making the story relatable by addressing the prospect's pain points, challenges, and failing solutions. Use case studies of customers who have solved their problems using these alternative solutions. And do research so that as soon as the prospect begins to picture themselves using a new solution, you can back up their argument with data to rationalize their statements. If done right, the prospect won't see the benefits of sticking to their original path. Moving on to step 4, the value proposition. It's now time to show the prospects the possibilities of a better future if they choose the new path. Don't introduce your product as a solution early on. Instead, focus on showing the prospect that their problem can be easily solved. Frame these solutions by painting a picture of a positive future. In the last step, you told a story with a bad ending. Now, flip the story to show the prospect what their future will look like if they decide to take action. The prospect needs to start connecting the dots themselves, but you can take the time to explain anything the prospect is unsure about. The ultimate goal in this step is to educate the prospect about what the ideal solution to their problem looks like without ever mentioning your product. It seems counterintuitive, but if you do this right, the prospect will sell themselves on your solution before you ever have to. The fifth and final step is the product. The hard work is done. You've taken the prospect's problem, reframed it, gained their trust, and offered up a solution to solve it. The only thing left to do is show their prospect that they have the exact solution. If you follow all the steps in the process correctly, this final step should be painless and quick. Because with a challenger sales, the sales rep is already leading the conversation from the beginning. Sales processes are becoming more complex, and prospects are doing more research on their own before they make contact with the sales rep. This is where the challenger sales model and methodology comes in handy. If you find the challenger sales model interesting and you want to learn more about different sales methodologies, carry on watching our video series on different sales methodologies, or head over to our blog where we've gotten more into detail on other popular sales methodologies. Thanks for watching.